I'll be honest, the sparring is what puts the wear and tear on fighters. It's not so much the fights, it's the sparring and the gym wars and all that. That's what puts the wear and tear on fighters, which ruins fighters, which burn fighters out. I'm always at the sort of mentality where I'll just spar before fights. You see guys sparring
relentlessly,
and I think, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, we've got a fight coming up.
Yes, we are back at it at the real life, and this week's guest, yes, I've got him, it's Martin Harkin. How you doing, my man?
Great, thanks for having me.
First and foremost, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it. I know how hard it is with family life and things like that, and your career and things, but thanks so much for coming on. Anyway, how's life in general?
Brilliant. I just working away, training away, just quiet life.
How's the family getting on?
Aye, they're great. I've two wee ones, so they keep me there. That's a full-time job in itself.
You're fresh for victory last month, a TKO victory of Vitaly Miskimev. Sure I get that one right there. How good was getting back in there, Martin, and do what you do best and getting the W and enjoying it once again? It
was great because I've switched gyms, changed my coach, and I'd been working. I'm training with Gary Jacobs now. It was good to kind of put everything we were practicing into play on the fight. Do you know? I know it sounds, you take the win and you want to win and you want to stop the boy and you want to win in convincing fashion, but I just wish, part of me wishes it was a wee bit longer so I could show a wee bit more what I'd been working on, you know. And that, I've only had 3 rounds since last May, to be honest, and it's just not enough ring time for me, so I'm hoping for a quick turnaround, get going again, have a busy year this year.
Speaking of turnarounds, you're under the St Andrews banner, Ian Wilson. What's the plans going forward? What can we expect to see from you in the next 6 to 12 months? What's Ian got in mind for you?
I've done that apprenticeship stage now where you fight the journeyman and you build up. I'm at a stage where I only want big deals, big fights, and you know, that last fight there was more or less just to get back in, shake the ring rust. But I want some just big fights, good. I want fighters on winning streaks, guys that are people are talking about. I want to fight just whatever's best for me and for the right pay as well at this stage.
How far do you think you can go level wise, Martin? What's the goal?
I don't want to fight. I mean, if I got offered for these, you get all these international titles now and intercontinental titles, and they do get you a good ranking in that, but I think to me they're a load of shite. I want to do the if it was, my plan would go the domestic route, where the British and Commonwealth, like the old school way, the hard route. I want to go that way. That's what that's what my plan. If I had a say in it, that's the direction I'd want to go. Rather, I mean, if you get offered the British, the intercontinental belts, you'd take them because but for me, I'd like to go the British and Commonwealth route.
To be successful in this sport, the effort has to be unquestionable. You've got a young family, you've got a full-time job, a boxing career. What's keeping you motivated and driven at this stage in your life and also in your boxing career?
Do you know, it's just I've just the love of the sport. I've never ever boxed for money or anything else. I just, it's just sheer enjoyment. Why I keep doing it. I've still got a fire in me. And since when I first put the gloves on, I still feel the same way. I only, I still love it, and that's the motivation. Just the sheer enjoyment. I'm pissed off when I lose, but it's when you win, you beat a good fighter, and there's no better feeling for me.
You're 29 now. Do you feel you're reaching the peak years of your career, Martin?
I would say so. I would say I'm a young 29. I don't feel I've not been in any hard fights or any grueling wars or anything like that. So I feel that I'm still reasonably fresh. I don't think I've taken too much punches so far. So I still feel I'm just coming into my prime sort of thing. I think the average guy people are different, but I think the average person comes into your prime roughly between 30 and 32, they say. So I still feel I'm 29, but I still feel 22, to be honest.
Boxing's often about timing, mate. Do you feel that you're going to get the right fights at the right time now and you're going to kick on your career?
You see a lot of these guys, baby steps, and he's still a baby. And Canelo was fighting guys when he was 15-year-old. He was fighting mature men, and I've had a lot of senior fights, and to be honest, my pro career so far, I've fought, majority of the time I've fought guys that are coming to win, and I've had a few hard tests. So I've hopefully I get the right opportunity. But like you say, it's all about timing and whether the fight's right, and but hopefully good opportunities come my way.
We know you can box, mate. We know you've got power. Is it a matter of staying in the gym, staying ready, sharpening those tools, and when those opportunities do come, you will take them with both hands?
Definitely. I think you see a lot of... I was talking to actually Cash Farouk the other night about this, where you'll see fighters after fights will maybe take 6-7 weeks out of the gym, and that's how you put on weight and you get rusty. And I like training anyway. It's a feel good factor for me, but so I usually after fights just take a week or so, and just get straight back in, keep the running up, and just make sure you're keeping top of your training. You're not putting on weight, and you're taking over, as they say. So it's a feel good factor for me. That's why I train anyway. You feel good about yourself.
You've got a great attitude. Where do you get that from?
Probably my dad's experience. My dad, obviously, him boxing pro, he just kind of taught me, just that's the way you need. If my trainer at the time as well, my trainer that I worked with, Danny Lee, always says, you just keep. You need to live a life of a boxer. You can't be out drinking, taking drugs, and you can't burn the candle at both ends. Because you'll get found out. So I've just a quiet kind of family man anyway. So all I do is just go to work, train, back to the family. That's my mindset. I think that's what I've just gained that attitude from.
You're clearly in love with this sport. It's fair to say you made a lot of sacrifices to get to this moment.
Do you know, a lot of people don't see it, but to you give up, for a young age, you give up, going out with your pals, weekends, parties. You miss out on a lot, actually, because you're either trying to get into bed early so you make the right amount of sleep so you're up running in the morning. It's boxing's a tough, and it's very few make it as well, so it's a big sacrifice, and it's people don't realise. See, like, if you're not a fighter yourself, they don't realise. You think it's just about going in and boxing and getting the win that night, but it's all the stuff before then and beforehand.
People don't realise the amount of self-discipline you have to exhibit at such a very young age. I'm talking teens. It doesn't start at 16. It starts when 12, 13-year-old. That's when you see people prevail for that age and become really decent boxers.
You need to be guys that do that sort of lifestyle. They don't last long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the ones that do are dedicated. It's like anything. I think my partner, she's like that. I think if you've got a stroke of that autism, she went because I always need to pack my bag at night and have everything organised, and I just like to prepare for everything. I don't know. I'll even go as far as to say see everything when I'm driving my car. I always back it in because I need to see when I'm coming out. Do you know? So everything needs to be dead organised. So I need that. I have that with my training as well. My running shoes at the door when I'm up. My alarm's set. 2 alarms are set.
Routine, mate.
That's the word, routine. So I'm just like that in my whole everyday life. So it's just my nature, I think.
Let's run it back, mate. You brought up in Dumbarton. How was your upbringing?
I had a good, reasonably. I never get into any trouble or anything like that. My mum and dad split up when I was young. That's the only kind of factor it's the word adversary I had dealing with that. Other than that, I had good friends around me, good people around me. Didn't hang about with any Neds or anything like that. Just me and my brother were best pals. So
how did you find it your mum and dad splitting up when you were younger? Was it difficult for you?
It's you got that kind of broken home sort of aspect. It can be tough. It's tough. People are different. Circumstances are different, but I'm still close. I'm close, very close with both my parents. My stepdad as well, and my dad's partner. I'm close with them.
Yeah.
Close with them all. So it worked out.
How did you go into the school?
School, I was quite just went to school just like everybody else. I was good in school. Never really got into any trouble. Kept my head down. Only that I could have done better in school. I could have done. I could have went on and done better, but I never applied myself at school. That's the only bad aspect, I would say.
Is that a regret you have not doing that?
I think I'd probably be sitting in a better job if I'd applied myself. But I was too busy and thinking about go to the gym, what am I doing after? Do you know what I mean? Or what's happening at training in the night more so than
when I should have. As well, haven't you?
I should have been paying attention, but I learn. You learn, and I can teach my kids that now. For my mistakes, do you know what I mean? And really apply yourself, because I've always see people say, "Oh, job doesn't define you." It kind of does, because it shows you your
path in life.
And how much you've put in and into that, So I could have done better at school. I'll say that. Yep, definitely.
You're very close to your dad, Robert. Lovely guy. Does he keep you right?
He gives me advice, and I think we've got such a close bond is because the boxing. I had the gloves on since I've been 3-year-old. I've actually I keep a scrapbook, and there's pictures of me with the headguard on and the boxing gloves on, but he keeps me. I think that's why we're so close, because we can relate to a lot, and he's been there since the start with the boxing. I need to mention my mum as well. I would come in for training, and when I'd go home and she would always have my tea ready, and she that gets overlooked. Do you know what I mean? She done had all my I'm into washing I go through with the sweating and 3 or 4 t-shirts a session. That mounts up, and you're training 5 nights a week. So I need to give my mum a mention for that, because she done all my washing and made my dinner and stuff. So yeah, that's needs to be mentioned.
Oh, there you got a punch off your mum. You get here.
I know.
On a serious note, mate, do you feel that the way your mum and dad have brought you up has shaped you into the person that you are today?
I've always I would say they brought me up just to keep respectful, even if you disagree with a guy or the person. Acknowledge it and have manners and just be polite. That's the kind of you're morphed. See, between they say it's all learned behaviour for your parents. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably why I get into boxing, because my dad, and seeing him and how he talk about boxing, his boxing, that's how I get into it. I'm not like all these other fighters go, I fancy going and doing a bit of boxing, trying boxing. No, I was brought up with it. So
how much are you in love with the sport?
I started boxing. My dad got I probably because I love it, is because I seen him do it and stuff, and I started young, and it's for there it just snowballed. The snowball effect, really.
You touched on your partner just a minute ago there. He's a good nut, mate.
Aye, she's dead understanding. She's give up a lot for she's give up a lot for, like, it's a lot of pressure on her as well, because when she gives up a lot for me to go to train and go do my fights, and because like I said to you earlier, it's not just showing up to box, it's all the weekends that you're missing out. Of course it is. That's why you just try to make up for it, like when the fight's over and you can go out and take her for something to eat and spend a bit of money on herself and stuff.
You know what it's like, mate, the stress and the pressure that comes with a sport. Would it be fair to say your dad, your partner and your mum have guided you through the tough times but also the good times as well?
Aye, yeah, because boxing's not all about winning all the time. Even when the losses, when you're yourself, everybody's your pal when you're winning, but see, as soon as you take the first loss or the second loss, I mean, I lost 100 times as an amateur. And, you know, it's them that are kind of your fallback sort of thing. They're always there, even if you win or lose. So you get a lot of hangers on, and only your pal when you're winning, but your family are always there for you when you're sitting and you're depressed and you're crabbing, and so they kind of lift you. Do you know what I mean? Help you get over it.
I'm sure it was Angelo Dundee says when you lose, it's the people in the dressing room at the end of the fight that mean the most to you, and the ones when you win. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, aye. That's so true, and you'll see that. The fighters will see that themselves when they do eventually, you know, get beat. They'll see the real people that are there for them. Do you know what I mean? And boxing's cruel, and it's everybody's talking about you when you're winning, but as soon as you get beat, they're the next guy. Do you know what I mean? It's
conveyor belt, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally. It's totally.
What brought Martin Harkin to boxing? I know you touched on your dad now, but what brought you initially to boxing?
Just other than my dad, I don't know. I just got the bug for it as soon as I tried it. Wanted to go all the way with it. To be honest, I've been doing it. This is me still going. The amount of people I've seen come and go, all the amateurs that I came through with, they're all finished now. You know, and I've seen so many people come and go. But even in the gyms when you're training and stuff, people just it's too hard a lifestyle. People want to get to a certain age where they just want to go out with their pals and stuff like that, and I just always stuck at it. I've always stuck at it, and I've choked up. I had a good couple of opportunities there, and I choked up in the fights, and I'm still here. I'm still going. I'm still pursuing it.
Still got the hunger, Martin?
I'm still hungry. Still get fire in my belly, and I think the day when that sort of, as they say, the fire goes out, then I'll pack it in. You know?
Did the game come natural to you?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's a lot of training, a lot of you need to get schooled properly. Natural, certain aspects of your boxing's natural, but it's a lot of training, a lot of time and effort, and even to this day, you're never too what's the word? Too old to learn something, because
you're always learning.
Aye, totally.
In life as well.
I'm even sitting in work, right, and I'm visualising. I'm shadow boxing, even the wee things I'm getting taught in the pads, like wee new moves and stuff. I'm sitting about and I'm going through that in my head, and I'm
obsessed.
Even,
you need to be obsessed, but you can't. People say dedicated fighters. You need to be obsessed with this game. You have to be obsessed to succeed, and that's the way it is.
Oh, you need to be. You need to see. You need to be 100% into it. If you can't be half-hearted, because you'll get hurt. It's one of the. It's as you know. It's no. Definitely. It's no a game. You know, you get your teeth punched in if you're no get your head screwed on.
Do you love fighting?
Aye, I do. It's a buzz for me. I can't put it. It's a buzz. Aye, it's don't really like hurting people. Do you know if that makes sense? I wouldn't want to hurt the guy, damage the guy, give him long term effects. But I want to win. If he's trying to hurt me, I just want to win and look good. I always want to look good. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself. Need to look good, because I don't want to be in any stinkers.
Do you get nervous or that?
The only time I get nervous is walking to the ring. That's how you see. That's how you see me running out the dressing room. That's the only thing. People, my dad used to get nervous when he was lacing his boots in the dressing room.
Right.
I've heard other fighters get nervous when they hit the pads and or getting their hands wrapped. But for me, I've always been nervous walking to the ring. As soon as you're in the ring, it goes away. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's a strange feeling.
Do you remember your first fight, where it in the streets or in the gym?
I do remember my first fight. It's weird. You always remember your first fight, and it wasn't in the gym. That's for sure.
Young team.
Do you know? I was actually fighting up in I fought with a guy, and it was a couple of Neds, and and probably should watch what I say with the job I'm in. But years ago, my brother my younger brother, were up at Victoria Park, and these two Neds were older, about 16 at the time, and I'm 3 year older than my brother. And I was giving my brother a hassle, and he was just kind of sitting on a roundabout when he was a wee boy, and they pushed him off, right, kind of bullying him and that. And I was up there with my dad and his partner, and he'd taken us up, and at the time my dad was watching, and my brother got his hand jammed in the roundabout, right, and it was fucking quite bad. My dad's like that. I was obviously, you get defensive of your family and your brother, but I remember my dad just whispering in my ear, going, and I was boxing at the time, so I knew how to throw punches correctly. So he's like, go hit that boy with 3 right hands, and
teach him a lesson.
Just don't let him hit your brother. And I was kind of looking at my dad like, you're nervous, but I just do what my dad says. And I went up, I just didn't even say anything. I just bang, 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 punched him 3 times, and he went down, and his pal was there, and as well, but his pal was obviously in shock, and the boy's eye just went like that, just shut. I always remember, it sticks in my head, the boy's eye just went closed, and that was it. He never fought back. That's for sure. But he's just defensive over your family, and if you're going to hit my brother, then so that was my first fight, and it always sticks out because of the boy's eye. It went like that. So,
what other things you do outside the boxing? What takes your mind away from the game?
I've always said I've not got enough interests. I should. It's unhealthy, to be honest. I don't have enough interests other than boxing. All I ever do is just watch boxing, or if I've watched the UFC now and again, but I don't have any other habits. I wish I did. I've tried other things. I just nothing really. That's how I always say I'd probably stay involved with boxing, even get into coaching or become a coach or something like that, because it's just been.
Do you feel when your career does come in, you will go into coaching, similar to Cash is doing at the moment, something like that?
I'd like to get into coaching, but it's a big commitment. Coaching, it's a lifestyle as well. But I think I'd stay involved some way. I don't know if I'd go as far as to open my own club or something like that, because that's a big commitment. But I'd love to stay involved with boxing after my career anyway.
Would you train amateurs and that, or do you feel you could maybe pick up a couple of pros and get moving for that way, or what do you think?
Probably you'd start off at the amateur scene, and then if you're good enough and you're having success, just kind of develop that into pros.
Yeah. Let's talk a wee about your amateur career. Tell us a wee about your record.
I'd roughly about 70 fights, lost about 30 or so. That was, I never won any titles. I beat boys that had went on to win like national titles and stuff. But I fought a lot of senior fights, a lot of good opponents, and at the time I'd always fight the guy that was like number 1 at the time in Scotland and stuff, and I boxed abroad, and but I feel like see going for that amateur style to pros, it's totally different. It is.
A lot of fighters say that.
Aye, it's. I think you see a lot of successful amateurs that don't really develop into pros. You know, if you followed it yourself, you see like the likes of Frankie Gavin, who's like the first great amateur, and they just never had that pro style. My dad tells me that top amateurs don't make good pros, but bad amateurs make good pros.
Look at the Cubans, there's tons of them, isn't there? They don't turn over, and they're tremendous amateurs, aren't they?
Exactly.
Who's the best you faced in the amateurs?
I fought a lot. I don't know if off the top of my head MD stands out. I thought I couldn't even pick one. Do you know that? I fought that many. There's been that many good guys I fought. I couldn't really pick. They've all been good and hard in their own right.
Were you content with your achievements for amateur?
I'd like to, obviously, every amateur would like to win a Commonwealth medal or go to the get to European level and stuff.
Did you box for Scotland?
I boxed for Scotland.
How proud a moment was that for your dad, your mum and your family? Because that's a big thing.
Aye, you know, they were all proud. Proud. They're always proud, you know, even in the smaller fights to the biggest fights. They still always stick by me. Do you know what I mean? When I lose. So
you spent a lot of time at Greenock Boxing Club under the guidance of Danny Lee. How good was your time there?
Danny Lee, just he was like I've obviously left him now. Just last year we split, but Danny's like I always look at Danny as like a family member. He had that kind of father figure sort of feel for me.
A good guy, yeah.
A great guy, a great coach, and he's taught me things that he produced me as a fighter I am now. It just me and how can I say it, the fighter coach relationship just came to an end. There's too many factors, and I had to make a change. But I'll always be thankful to Danny, and he's taught me so much. And great coach. He knows. See, honestly, watch any fight and watch any fighter, and they'll tell you how to beat them. It's great. He's just so good at reading a fight.
Just look at him with John Simpson. John was a great fighter. Unbelievable. What a fighter John Simpson was. Brilliant.
And like I was saying to you, just off camera, he doesn't get speaking enough, spoke about enough. And Lonsdale belt outright away from home. You know, that's...
He always done it on the road as well, John, didn't he?
He's he done it when he wasn't supposed to win. Do you know what I mean? And him and Danny had the right style for him, and he should have been at least European champion. I think he should have at least.
Did you learn a lot from Danny?
Loads. So I owe my whole boxing career to Danny. To be honest, worked together for countless hours and countless time, and you know, so many good times, bad points as well. And but it was like you know, I'll always be thankful and glad that what I've gained for that, because he know what the thing is with Danny Lee, he's a great guy, because you get a lot of proud coaches, right? But Danny's always, if a fight's never going your way or you're getting hurt, he'd pull you out. He'd put this. He always says to me, "This is somebody's weighing. This is somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's potentially somebody's dad." Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't want. You need to think of the fighter. You get too many proud coaches I've seen over the years, that will throw fighters in and end up getting
hurt,
sparked, or they get losing their teeth or something like that. You know what I mean? But Danny always put the health of the guy, the fighter first, and it was a comfort thing. Do you know what I mean? So that's what one of the main aspects I liked about Danny.
You had a lot of respect from him, hadn't you?
Oh, as I say, it's just like a family member to me.
They say sparring's a great education for a fighter. Do you believe in that persona?
I believe in too much sparring's bad for you. Too much sparring, too much. You know, I think I wouldn't do. Like with Gary Jacobs used to spar. You know, he would only do 6 rounds a night, but he would accumulate that over so many months. But obviously, he was fighting at an elite level. But I think I'll be honest, the sparring is what puts the wear and tear on fighters. It's not so much the fights, it's the sparring and the gym wars and all that. That's what puts the wear and tear on fighters, which ruins fighters, which burn fighters out. I'm always at the sort of mentality where I'll just spar before fights. You see guys sparring
relentlessly,
and I think, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, we've got a fight coming up. It's just needless, unless you're helping a guy out that's helped you out, sort of thing. But I don't believe in. I believe in too much sparring just makes you punchy.
Puts smells in the clock, do you think? Tell me some of the top fighters that you've sparred in the game.
Well, my last fight there, but the fight before that, when I get beat, I was my sponsor, Martin Becky, for Stuart and Shields. They were, can't thank them enough. But they sent us down south for about 4 weeks. We were sparring. We were all over the shop. We went to Liverpool, we went to Newcastle, we went to London.
Mm-hmm.
Where else did we go? We travelled through to Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
For the best of sparring, I sparred down in Liverpool. We went to spar Mason Cartwright, he's fighting that Troy Williamson for the British title coming up.
A great fight. He's a big beard, that Wilson, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He can punch, can't he?
He's good. I was at his last fight with Cheeseman. I actually went down.
Did you get down?
I went down to watch it.
Right.
And me, my pal, and that was some knockout. I like Troy Williamson. I like his style.
I thought he would tire towards the end of the fight, but he just seems to find a second wind. A big bear.
He can punch. He can scud as well. So when, hopefully Mason does well in it. I'll be cheering for him anyway. So we went and sparred him. Then we were down sparring O'Hara Davis down in London.
How'd you go with O'Hara? He's a character, isn't he?
Do you know? I know that side of things, what he's portrayed in the media and all that. He comes across as a bit arrogant and stuff, but when you meet him and chat to him, he's nothing but nice. He's friendly.
I think he was just immature at the time. Under pressure, the camera, you know what it's like. Guys say things you don't want to say and they go, oh fuck, did I just say that? But is he a nice guy in general? Yeah,
he's a nice guy. He was nice to me, my dad and Gary, and he made us feel welcome, and he had a nice attitude towards us. You know, maybe it's different when you're fighting him, but I just see what people say. I've always think, people I take it into consideration. If you tell me a guy's an arsehole, right, I'll take it into consideration, but I'd rather see what he's
judge
like
them
with me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Before I'd make that judgment. That's so. I think he's maybe one of the cases with him. So sparring him down there, and then I sparred an up and comer that's just signed with Frank Warren, Sonny Ali.
Right,
He's
I've heard him.
Yeah,
he's
class
good,
fighter. He's class. He's really good. So really good work with him. And I mean, who else? We sparring down. So I sparred with them two down in London. It was a great experience. Some laugh. And so we were sparring Lewis Ritson down in Newcastle, and I used to spar Lewis when he was training with Billy Nelson.
Right.
Up since 2015, so I've known Lewis a long time, and what a fighter he is. I always rated him. Do you know what I mean?
When he moved up, he didn't carry the power, but didn't he?
No, he was a force at lightweight, but he's not really been.
He's
not
carried that power up. A nice guy, yeah.
Brilliant guy, lovely guy. His dad's a nice guy as well.
He trains. His dad trains him, didn't he? He's in the corner, isn't he? I'm sure.
His dad's trained him. I think he's worked with that Neil Fannin, and he's left him now, and he's back with his dad. But what a fighter he is! He's just nothing about boxing. Just he's fucking on you. You know, one of the amount of doings I've taken for him, and the amount of doings I've gave him, it's been back and forth. I'm planning on going back down with him actually at some point, maybe in the near future. I'll just get in touch with him again and go back down to his gym. So, but the sparring up here it's different compared to down there. You know what I mean? It's
Why is that?
Such a small pond up here. If you're I've just think you should be mixing with the best to be the best. That's my view. So that's why we went down south, and it's just so you walk into if you're a pro and you walk into another gym, it's like pro boxers are just so competitive and they just want to do you in. Do you know? And there's no technical sparring. It's just it's like a fight. So it brings the best out on you, obviously. But I wouldn't, as I was saying there, I wouldn't do too much of that. Too much hard sparring. How
good was the experiences getting down south and sparring and meeting new people as well, and getting experience for your career as well? How good was the experience?
A great experience. You know, we would do. You would go down and you would do the sparring, do the hard work, and then you'd go away and out for something to eat with your team and my dad and Gary and have a laugh and just talk pish and it was a good laugh and it was good, and it is an experience. You only have one career, so absorb it. You know what I mean?
Well, you look back on that and say that's probably part of your family, your kids, and that probably one of the best experiences of your lifetime. Things like that with your dad, Gary, getting a laugh, things like that.
Aye, absolutely. And no, even better if you come away and you've sparred well.
Aye.
You know what I mean? That's just like a cherry on top. You know.
You turned pro in 2016 at Greenock Town Hall under an Ian Wilson show. How good was that feeling that you'd turned pro and you'd done it, Martin?
It was nice because it's something I've always just following. I always wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps, sort of thing, and it was good to finally. I never asked to turn pro. I didn't. A lot of people don't know this, but I never actually said, "Oh, I want to turn pro," or "I want to go pro." I waited till I was told and advised to go pro. So I had my last amateur fight, which I won and never get a decision. I wasn't sour about it. I wasn't like, "Oh, I'm fuck this," or "I'm done with this." I came away. A fighter knows when they lose or when they get beat, and I came away feeling like I won that fight, but they robbed me. And
how did that make you feel?
I pissed off a bit, but it happens in boxing. You've seen it just recently. Robberies, it's corrupt. It's full of snakes. It's everything's down to money.
It's bullshit, isn't it?
It's horrible. It's people. I've always thought of boxing, especially see like journeyman and fighting. I've thought of boxing sometimes as a derogatory sport. You know that you're fighting for money, for people's value and entertainment. And as you look at it from outside of that, it's just kind of, to me, it's, although I love it, it's weird. It's a weird.
I read a tweet for Alec Arthur, Ellie Scottney, and he said to in the tweet, he says, "Listen, Ellie, use fighters, use the lines, use hunt the prey, use bring it back to the fans, the promoters, the networks." Always remember that, and it sticks in my mind. It's so true. It's such a true saying.
It is, and you're only one or two losses and you're finished in this game as well. So people want, this is all about the value for money, and you need to put bums on seats. That's the only way you're going to be successful, I think. Can't afford to be in any stinkers or any lacklustre performances. You need to be exciting. You need people talking about you, and that's always how I've tried to approach it. Did
you adapt to the programme straight away, Martin, or did you find it difficult at the start, or did you work it in?
No, one thing about going pro I liked was the longer rounds. You can settle into a fight more. You've obviously seen amateurs, it's all high paced, and it's over before you know it. And I think with pros it's better to watch. You can fights can turn better as well. You see a guy maybe 4 or 5 rounds up, and then that's him spent, and then the opponent's coming on to him now. So then it gets interesting. You see, right, you go into the deep end. Let's see how you come out. So that's what I liked about pros, and I think well, I've been told my style kind of suited pros. I'm a kind of inside fighter, and I like you do things that you don't get away with in amateurs. It's kind of that point scoring sort of style. Whereas pros, you can get away with it. You close a guy down, you can throw hooks to the body, you can throw hooks and upstairs, and and they score it on different aspects, and it's good. Judges like to see guys that are trying to win.
Definitely.
Try to win the fight and make that impression. They don't want to see guys coasting, sitting back, throwing single shots. Single shots don't work. It's sort of combinations that catch you guys.
You captured the Celtic title against Ali Black. You went to 9-0. How good was that feeling, capturing your first title in the pro game?
It was satisfying because I had during the lead up to it, I had like 3 fucking call-offs for that fight. Sadly, that's the only way I remember that fight, is because I had three opponents pulled out on me. So it was good to obviously to fight and get the result in the end, because it was a long kind of 3 training camps or something like that. I don't like this term camp. Sorry, I just mean like, it's just a figure of speech, but that's a kind of new term, innit? Camp. It's just it's been a long training process, put it that way.
You'd moved to 13-0. You defeated James Moorcroft. You got me on a TKO victory in round number 5. You couldn't miss that night with the left hook, mate, couldn't you know?
Do you know, that was a good victory for me, because I don't really pay much attention to what guys say on YouTube and all that, right? But he kind of talked quite a bit of shit about me, saying he was going to stop me, and this. If I'm fighting somebody, I'll always be respectful and say, look, I'm coming to win, and who.
Did that give me a fire in your belly that he was kind of winding you up and things like that?
I didn't watch him. He was watching all my Instagram and like, you know, following what I was. I didn't once look at his stuff or what I'm not interested in what he was putting up. I was interested in myself, but it was my dad that was on YouTube saying, he's saying this about you, he's saying that about you. You fucking better do this, guy. So, but you know, he was saying him and his trainer and all that was saying they were going to stop me, and I've not fought him decent, and I was just, you know, I just was determined to win that night, and he just never got. I wouldn't let him to get in my head, but even after it and stuff, it was just kind of disrespectful. But it was good. It was a good result to get that one, and you know, people were saying it was going to be a competitive fight, but I put him down in the second.
That's right. And
then I cut him in the fifth, and I eventually stopped him in the fifth or something like that, whatever's fifth or sixth. So it was good to get the result.
Mm-hmm. Your only two records, blemishes on your record against McKinson and Benjamin. How awkward is McKinson's style?
Very awkward. Very awkward. He beat me, and I felt like a loser that night. I felt I just couldn't pull the trigger that night. His negative style. Looking back, I'd love the rematch. I'd love to get that fight back.
What went wrong that night for you?
He you know, tripping over his feet. He's leaning back style. His negative approach. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to engage. He wanted to just slow the fight down to his pace. Just a nightmare style. And but it was a fight I couldn't knock back. He's number 2 or 3 in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20-0. If I was to go in and beat him, then I'm right. Everybody's talking about me. I'm right up there, and I want to. You know, the only way you'll get recognised in Scotland is you take fights away from home. But he was just a tricky customer and didn't punch hard or hurt me at all. Just
spoil, I take it.
Spoil, clinch, hold. You know, it works for him. It's obviously worked for him up to this point. No, the most exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Quite boring at times, but he got the job done.
See the Benjamin fight, were you injured in that fight?
You know, I'm embarrassed I lost to that guy.
Why is that?
More so than anything, because I should have beat him. And I feel like I beat myself that night. He caught me with a body shot, and what the mistake I done is I sat down in the corner and I hunched over, and it was like a delayed reaction. I should have stood up and let my airwaves open, because I had the full round to recover.
Doing well in that fight as well, up to that point, weren't you?
Aye, they had him winning, which is, I don't think was right, but I feel that he's nothing special at all. He beat me, and it was more so I beat myself, I would say. I don't mean sour grapes. He beat me. He stopped me with the body shot, but I don't think he's going anywhere, to be honest. I don't think he'll go. All the best to him and stuff, but I just feel...
You feel you beat yourself?
Aye. I felt a loser in the McKinson fight. I didn't feel like a loser in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we just get another big chance down south.
You're under the guidance of Gareth Jacobs now. How good's it been under Gary now?
Great. Gary's just changed me. I think if I linked up with Gary 2 or 3 fights ago before I took the losses, I think I'm not going to say I'd have won, but I'd have performed better. Gary's... What I like about Gary, he's walked the walk. You know, he's been there and done it. British, Commonwealth, European.
Fought Pernell Whitaker.
Who was pound for pound champ back then. You know, Gary was an elite fighter. He was super elite. And it just gives me confidence having somebody like him training me. Somebody of that calibre. And the things he teaches me, and he knows what's worked in fights. See, you get guys that I don't believe, like Angelo Dundee's never boxed in his life, right? But he was a great trainer. He's an exception. I still believe that you need to have experienced, you know, some form of boxing and being able to relate to a fighter. See if a fight's not going your way, Gary knows how to relate. He's been in that situation.
Do you feel there's a lot of teachers left in boxing?
You
touched on Angelo Dundee there, tremendous trainer. There's guys like Adam Booth, Peter Fury. Do you feel that there's enough of these guys in boxing now? That there is enough teachers there?
There's certain. I don't know. It's hard to say. Possibly not as what it used to be. There's less good trainers now.
You've also got a teacher in Gary Jacobs. Do you feel Gary's experience and his demeanour will help you develop as a fighter?
I know what I like about Gary, right? Now, it might be different when I'm put under a wee bit of pressure and a fight's not going my way. He might react differently. We've still to see that yet, but I like how cool he is. You know,
Never panics, doesn't he? No?
He doesn't panic. I've never seen Gary angry. I've never seen him angry, I swear to God. And he's just a happy, cheery guy, and he's relaxed, and you know, he's always like, what's comfortable for you. He doesn't stress. In that fight there that we had, he's like, he was relaxed in the corner. I like that because it makes me feel relaxed. See, if the trainer's panicking, the fighter's going to panic. You know, and I mind when the guy that comes into your dressing room to tell you, right, that's the gloves, like that's you ready to walk out before the fight. Guy comes rushing in, he's like, right, Martin, come on. You sense that urgency in his voice, so you're like that.
Get the juices flowing.
Aye, so it kind of it hits you when Gary's like, whoa, calm down, don't rush for MD. See, when you rush, you make mistakes.
Definitely.
You know,
I've seen Cashton at the gym. Has he been helping it and that? I take it now.
I've asked Cash to come on board with me. He's getting into coaching now that his boxing's done, so I've asked him. It'd be an honour to get Cash in and on board with us and help Gary in the corner, because my dad said it the other night. He's like, look how many, you know, we were on the ring together chatting and having a good atmosphere, good gym, good upbeat gym, and we were up. My dad's like, look, see if you put Gary's record, Cash's record, my record, and your record, how many wins have we got all together? You know, and that's just, it's going to just make for a good formula. Cash, I says to Cash, like, teach me all your wee tricks, teach me all your wee pet punches, things that work for you. I'm a different fighter for Cash, but see if I can pick up anything that worked for him. You know, he was good at slipping the jab over the shoulder and coming in with the right. He was good at that. I told him to teach me that, and also when another wee punch he was teaching me is what you tap. It doesn't need to be power all the time. Just wee taps, and then whip the big punch in. So he's teaching me that, and Cash is the most humble guy you could meet, and I think he'll make a great trainer.
Do you think he can bring new things to your game?
100%, because he can teach me the punches, and he's been in the big fights now. So when it comes my opportunity, then hopefully from what he's teaching me, it'll come into play.
Speaking of big fights, mate, we've got big ones coming up in the near future. Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte. Big Tyson, his charisma on a stick. How do you see this fight going, mate?
I think Fury will just box his head off, to be honest. You know, Whyte can punch, he's always got that factor about him, but Tyson's fought Deontay Wilder. He's been put down for him. And I always say, a fighter, you don't see how good a guy is until their heart's tested. Definitely. You know, you can look good against guys that are no punching back, but see when you get put down, let's see how you react with that if you get up again. And Tyson's obviously done that, he's shown that, and he's been put in his arse and he's been hurt. He's been, you know, the first fight he get put down, and then remember he get caught in the third fight, didn't he?
Yep.
With a belter.
He was lights were out and he came back again. But I just, Deontay Wilder's the biggest heavyweight puncher since Ernie Shavers, right? And yet I don't know how Dillian Whyte can win this fight. And I'm just being brutally honest with you, that I don't know how he can win this fight. Tyson's all right for him. He's got the big levers. He's got the reach. White's not going to get in close. The only way he get hold of Tyson is to stick it on him. I don't know if he's got the cardio to stick it on him. You know what I mean?
I agree with you, because Unless the only way I see him winning is if he catches him with one of the big daft hooks.
Do you feel Dillian Whyte has to keep a cool head in the hot kitchen and try and frustrate Tyson and take him into places he's never been before? But that's easier said than done. But do you believe Dillian Whyte can do that in this fight, or have moments in this fight where he can do that? Or is this a simple demolition exercise for Tyson Fury?
I'll tell you, he's kind of mind games outside the ring is maybe it's pissing Tyson Fury off. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube where he was no showing up to a press conference, and Tyson Fury's dad was going off his nut, and that's annoying them. That's annoying them because they can't get that reaction from him.
And you know what it's like, Tyson always has that mental advantage. See that Dosser nonsense and the mind games and the Christmas jumpers with fucking Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. I don't care who that gets in your head.
Aye.
It does, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
he's the best at doing it. But Dillian Whyte, do you think slightly he's getting into Tyson's head, just a tiny bit, getting into this fight with no turn up at the press conference?
Aye, I do so. I think so. I think Tyson Fury's annoyed at it. Deep down, I think he is. Just with his mannerisms and his attitude, you can kind of see a wee bit of aggravation.
This fight's got all the hallmarks to be a cracker, but I need to put you in the spot. Give me a prediction for this fight.
I think Tyson Fury will I'll say late stoppage. I'll say Tyson Fury will stop him in 7. Just with the big long straight punches, I think. And he's not got the best of chins, Dillian Whyte. I mean, he's been sparked for Joshua, and who else hurt him?
Povetkin
took him out with what a lovely punch, and Joseph Parker had him on Queer Street as well at one point.
So Big Dale Boy as well. Big Dale Boy hurt him a couple of times when he was fighting him.
That's right. Aye. So he's not got the best of chins. I know Fury's not known for his biggest punch, but he's starting to show a bit more, especially the Deontay Wilder fights. He's putting more meat into his shots.
Definitely. Let's talk about Canelo Alvarez. He is the king of the jungle, mate, isn't he? How do you see Canelo and Bivol? How do you see that one turning out?
I love Canelo's ability, but I can't respect him. I don't know how you view him yourself, but I just think he's a cheat. I think he's is
that with the drug scandal?
The drugs cheat. You know, there was too much. I know they say there's a smoke without fire. I know that they let him off with that, but it's because of the money he generates.
The cash cow, isn't he?
I just think, you know, he tested positive for the steroids, and a guy that can move up and down the weights and carry the power. You know, you can always. Like we were talking about there, just there, you can't always carry your power up with you, but he seems to be doing that.
Yeah.
I'm convinced he's on steroids, but as a fighter and ability wise, I think he's great to watch. I think he's pound for pound best now, and I think if he keeps going the way he's going, he could potentially. I know people probably disagree with this, but if he keeps going up and down the weights, beating these unbeaten champions, I think you could make an argument he might overtake Mayweather on the greats list.
Just touching on the steroids here, do you believe that still exists in the sport? There's a lot of drug cheats out there in the sport.
Oh, it's rife, because there's ways of masking it now, and you know, commissions and all that will turn a blind eye. If you're bringing in millions of Mexicans to buy your fights and, you know,
follow the money in it.
Aye, and you're selling out Vegas casinos and all that, and you know, think of all that. It's money. It's all down to money. So I think so. I think there is so much. There's a lot that goes on. You know, and there's accusations with Canelo in the past, innit? And he claimed it was the meat he was consuming. But
what impresses you the most about Canelo Alvarez as a fighter?
He's good at a lot of things. He's good at multiple things. Probably his attitude and his willingness to fight the best guys. I mean, he's fighting that Bivol now, and he's, you know, if you look at his resume, it's really good.
Do you feel on that night that Bivol might be the bigger man and he might need to stick it on Canelo? Because as we spoke there, cash cows in boxing, if it's in Vegas, it's a close fight, Canelo will get a decision. Does Dimitri Bivol have to stick it on this man right for the get-go and try and take the judges out of the equation?
I would say so. I would say that he needs to do that, because he's obviously the draw, Canelo. But I've not seen too much of Bivol. No, I've seen a few of his fights. I know he's a good unbeaten fighter, but I think all eyes will be on Canelo, and he's expected to win this fight so he can fight Golovkin at the end of the year.
I love Golovkin. What a warrior, man. I think if Canelo and Golovkin do go at it, which I think they will, if pending Canelo comes through Bivol and then Triple G comes through Murata, I feel if Gennady Golovkin can roll back the years with that power that he had for you, don't box him, stick it on him, have it out with this man. Because as I said again, if it goes to the judges, it'll be so tight. Gennady Golovkin has to go hell for there, I think, this fight, and take it out on Canelo. What an intriguing fight, but your thoughts on that one?
My thoughts on that is, I think Canelo's looking better and better each fight. Golovkin, I feel he's shot now. I think he's a shot fighter. I think he's shown just shades of,
age.
Aye, age, because he is, and I think if he puts the gloves on with Canelo again, he's going to get stopped. I think this time. I think so. He's a tough Kazakhstan boy, but I think Canelo's just getting better, and he's putting his punches together well. And I think the fight they were close. The first two, I felt the first fight Golovkin got it,
yeah,
and I felt the second Canelo deserved it.
I agree with you.
So that's how I scored the two fights. Although they were two close fights.
Who do you feel from middleweight to possibly light heavy has the antidote to beat Canelo, or the style, whether it be a Benavidez, a Bertubiev? Who do you think?
I'm glad you asked me that.
Who do you think's the man to topple him?
I think Bertubiev. Is that how you pronounce it?
Bertubiev. He's a big bear, isn't he?
Oh, he's exciting to watch. I love his style where he's no one to box, he's one to come and get you.
But look at Big Callum Johnson. Big Callum Johnson had him out.
Aye, he did.
He was very unlucky. He just couldn't. He was experiencing that fight.
That's true.
And Callum said that. He said, I've had to put it more on him, and he didn't get caught. He got caught coming in. Mm-hmm. But what a fighter!
I just think he's an animal, that Bertubiev. I watched his last fight, and I actually get sick watching it. Mm-hmm. That way, because of the pressure he was putting on that American boy, the southpaw. Mm-hmm. He just had him cut, and the boy couldn't see, and he's just, imagine that. There's nothing worse when you're hitting a guy with all your shots and the guy keeps coming. Mm-hmm. It's so demoralising. Mm-hmm. Aye, and I think Bertubiev, he's good to watch, because people want to see that Mike Tyson effect, where when you were watching Mike Tyson, it was that you were paying for a live execution. You were wanting to go and see somebody get knocked out, and see somebody taking damage, see somebody lying in their back. Mm-hmm. And that's that kind of attitude that Bertubiev's got, and the following he's got, because as I says, he's not coming to box, he's coming to take you out, and that's what I like to watch when I'm watching a fight. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd love to see him and Canelo. I think he would be Canelo's biggest test.
Mm-hmm. He's huge, isn't he?
Aye, he's a bit. That's the only thing. The fight might not happen because of the size difference.
Aye.
Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to leave you a prediction, that one. Canelo Bivol. Tell me your prediction for that fight.
Canelo in points.
Mm-hmm.
If I was pushed to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Canelo points. Well,
listen, mate, it's been a privilege talking to you today. Thanks for coming in. I'll leave the stage with you. Anything like to add, mate?
Just thanks for having me. It was good to be on and talk about myself. I could talk all night about boxing. I've not got enough people to talk to boxing about, so it was good to chat away, and thanks for having me, guys.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again. God bless, Martin.
Cheers.